Hi, I'm Laura from Meadowlark Violin, and welcome to my Song of the Month video lesson. You can get the free sheet music to this song at my website, meadowlarkviolin.com, and I'll put the link in the description below. Today's song is Shenandoah, which is a really beautiful American song from the 1800s. And this one's particularly special to me because my mother's family comes from Virginia, and they actually owned land on the Shenandoah River. So it's very special in that reason, but my grandfather would also sing this song, and he had a beautiful voice, so I think of him every time I play it as well. But you know what, there's something else that's special about these early American songs and ballads, and I think this applies to really all history, is that anytime there was history being made, especially in America, there was always a fiddle present. And that fiddle not only captured the history that was going on through the songs that we have passed down, but I think it really captures the emotion of what those people were going through. And that's what I hear in Shenandoah. It not only captures that time period and that history, but it really encapsulates the emotions and the sacrifice and the heartache that our ancestors were experiencing during those times. So it's a very beautiful, touching song. So let's talk about the actual song and the music behind it. So the tricky part I think about Shenandoah is there's lots of tied notes and lots of long notes. So our scale is going to focus on those tied notes. And anytime you have tied notes, what you want to do is practice it without the tie, but also practice the long note of the tie as if it were eighth notes. So for instance, in our scale, we have a half note tied to an eighth note. So we're going to play it once and play the half note as if it were 4 eighth notes. So altogether, you're going to be playing that tied note for 4 eighth notes plus the 5th eighth note that it's tied to. So it would go like this. So you can practice it all the way through playing 4 eighth notes instead of the half notes. And that way, when you add in the ties, you can really feel exactly how long you need to hold that tie, because in your head, you're singing or counting those eighth notes. Another thing that's going on here is that you're always doing down bows on the long notes for the scale. So what you want to do is use the eighth notes to work your way back to the frog. So for instance, you've got a down bow on the D. Then for the next 3 eighth notes, use a lot of up bow, small down bow, a lot of up bow, and then boom, you're right there at the frog for the next long note. Now it's flip-flopped when we get to the arpeggio. The tied notes are going to be on up bows, so you're going to be doing the opposite. During the scale, I also want you to try to use 4th fingers on the descending part of the scale. And to do this, as you're going down, I want you to keep down your 1st finger as you swing over and reach for the 4th finger. And then once you have your 4th finger securely down, you can lift off your 1st finger. That's going to act as an anchor and help you to really find the 4th finger. So let's try it with the metronome at 60, and I'll play the tied notes, but if you want to add in just those 4 eighth notes for the half notes, feel free. 1 and 2 and ready and go. Now let's move on to the song. So I'm going to start on a down bow, and you can start kind of in the middle of the bow. It doesn't have to be on the tip or the frog. And you always want to think about, when you have long notes, the note that comes before that, and use that note before the long note to get to where you want to be in the bow. So I've got a couple little tricks for you here. So look at measure 2. Measure 2 starts on an up bow, and then you've got a long half note. So that up bow, get to the frog. So you've got a lot of bow for that down bow D. Same thing for the next 2 eighth notes in that measure. Get to the frog, keep that first finger down, and swing and reach for the 4th finger on measure 3. I also want you to try to use 4th fingers here if you can, but if you're learning 3rd position, I've also got some 3rd position parts. Those are those extra numbers underneath, so you can try some 3rd position if you're ready for that. Now going from measure 3 to 4, here's a place where you want to use those single eighth notes to work your way back to the frog. So in measure 4, I take that rest kind of with a grain of salt. I actually hold that note all the way over until the 4th beat. In measure 5, you're actually going to save bow for those eighth notes after the tie, like this. That's because you've got an up bow in measure 6, and you want to kind of stay in that upper half so that you're there ready for the up bow. Now measure 7, you do want to use a lot of up bow to get to the frog for those single eighth notes. So here's measure 7. Like that. Measure 9, be right at the frog at the beginning of measure 9 and really save your bow. Make sure you've got a lot of bow, at least half your bow, as you do that slur to the D string. Anytime you change strings, it takes up a little bit extra bow. So save bow. Like that. Another measure that might be a little tricky is measure 9, because you're going from a 3rd finger on the A string to a 3rd finger on the D string. And you might have to just momentarily pause your bow just for a second to get over to the D string. So I just kind of let my bow lighten the pressure, so I'm not necessarily stopping the bow, but I'm not really playing a note for just a split second as I move my finger over to the D string. The last little part that will add a really beautiful touch to this song is if you're learning vibrato. You've got some nice long notes, you can add it in. If you haven't learned vibrato yet, or if you're struggling with it, shameless plug, I have a new vibrato course, and I'll put the link to that in the description below. I've also made a duet part for this song, and you can find this on my website as well. The only tricky part about the duet is measure 7. It's going from an F sharp over to a B, so 2 on one string to 2 on the other string. All you have to do is just kind of roll your finger over like that to help you get those 2 notes. Now I'm not going to count off before I start. I'm just going to take a deep breath on the click before the first note. And I want you to take a breath in with me and then exhale on that first down bow, and that's going to help you get a good, relaxed, nice start. So here we go. So I hope you enjoyed this month's Song of the Month. If you did, please like this video and subscribe. That really helps me out. And please go to my website and sign up for my newsletter so that you can get the Song of the Month sent directly to your inbox. While you're here, you can check out this video or maybe this video, and I hope you have fun practicing.